You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing, daily, hopefully. Hello, today is Monday the 2nd of September 2024. You're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. Like yesterday's, this podcast is being recorded live on one of my live streams. Although I don't think there's anybody in the chat room today, so there isn't going to be any interaction. But basically, what I wanted to say today was, woohoo, I have signed off the first draft of chapter 35. Danny has been killed by having a sword shoved into his side and his guts being ripped out. That's cheerful, isn't it? And Mr. Sayers has been shot in the face by my lead character. Most out of character, or is it? Yeah, so it's a moment that I've been leading up to for a very long time. So I created Danny knowing he was going to be a bargaining tool to be held against my main character, Ronnie. And I pretty much decided that he would die by being nailed to a tree. And then I decided the tree would absorb him, and so the bad guys would then set fire to the tree. Now, there is a chance he survived. I haven't made a final decision yet. It all depends on what kind of mood I'm in when I write the epilogue. But there is a possibility that that Danny is still with us. Mr. Sayers, on the other hand, has definitely died. He has had his head shot, had his brain shot out by my lead character, who basically told him she was going to do it a few seconds before she did. But I feel kind of elated. So today is, as I say, it's the 2nd. It's show 116. And I did say, for me to hit my target of finishing the first draft of this by the end of show 200, I would have to basically do a chapter every 16 shows. Well, I'm on course, only just, admittedly, but I'm hoping to actually finish the next chapter in slightly less than 16 days, because I did have a lot of days where I was doing other things in the middle of this one, as anybody who's listened to the podcast will have realised. So my first thing I need to do now is revisit my chapter breakdown for chapter 36. So, in broad terms, chapter 36 is the chapter where the general election happens. Carl Tucker, my bad guy, does become Prime Minister. Barrera is the guy who disappeared a couple of chapters ago, the guy who was the head of Ronnie's protection detail. He is going to show back up again. But what we don't know, and we will find out during the course of the chapter, is in the meantime, Carl Tucker has got to him and basically said, look, I am going to be Prime Minister. And if you don't switch sides, you're all going to be declared enemies of the state and executed. And all you have to do to stay on my good side is go and kill their ambassador. Just go and kill Ronnie. It's fine. So, and I haven't worked out the exact mechanics. I will do a scene-by-scene breakdown. That will be my first bit, is to work out exactly how I do it. But basically, he's going to come back. He's already decided that Vickers, he realises that there is a more than a friendship developing between Vickers and Ronnie, so he can't rely on Ronnie to be part of the execution team. And I haven't quite figured out, he's got to incapacitate him in some way. Now, if you're literally fighting for your life, or you're under threat of death if you don't do this, I think the reality is he would probably just kill him if he had a way of doing it. But I don't want Vickers to die. I want Adrian to survive, because he's definitely in my current vision of the epilogue. So I need to find a way of not killing him. Matthews, the doctor from the protection team, is another character who I don't think he would necessarily go along with it as well. But anyway, so he's going to lead Ronnie, because he doesn't want to kill her at the Arboretum, so he's going to lead Ronnie off into the woods to shoot her. But Vickers saves her. And when they get back to the Arboretum, after Vickers has somehow saved her, the rest of the Arbor Associates staff, the people at the kind of the beta site, the place where, everything is being run from, up in the Cairngorms, but they've arrived and basically said the problem is we've had a communication that Ragnarok have won the argument, the Ragnarok faction won the argument, and we're all going to die. That's chapter 36. Chapter 37 is where basically the oxygen is starting to reduce. It's notably picked up in the atmosphere, and the army surrounds the Arboretum, and what Tucker's managed to do is he's used Farnborough to find as many Yakunda that are also soldiers, so when they send them in to attack, the Skald won't kill them, which makes it very difficult to manage them, basically. So you've then got, you've got the army surrounding, and Ragnarok is starting, oxygen is starting to be depleted, and Gaia, in the form of Claire, says, look, I've changed my mind. The sacrifice both Marianne and Oakley were prepared to make, plus all the stuff I've seen about their lives, having read a lot from Claire and from Mackenzie, I don't think you're the animals I thought you were. I think there's a lot more going on. So I think as a race, you should be given a chance to survive. So you need to get me back to the collective, because I will stop Ragnarok. I will make sure that the designated survivors for the Yggdrasil plan actually get to survive. And they basically have to rush Claire through with an armed escort, and get her into another tree, which obviously they succeed in. Then you've got the chapter of death, which is chapter 38, which is where all the ancillary characters die. And then chapter 39 is the final military assault on the Arboretum, and it's not just on the Arboretum, it's basically on the Cairngorms, because Farnborough has told Tucker that basically all the designated survivors are going to be in trees in the Cairngorms, and so they basically come in with flamethrowers and decide they're going to try and burn it down, which with oxygen depleting anyway isn't the smartest move. And it's about the final assault, who lives, who dies. It says here Carruthers turns up in chapter 39. I think he might turn up before then. Anyway, I've waffled as usual. I'm very enthusiastic about this project, particularly now I'm so close to the end. That's me done for today. I'm working tomorrow. Let me just have a look. When do I land? I'm going to... where are we? I'm going to Boston tomorrow. And I don't land until after midnight. So if I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to need to do a podcast in the morning. So I'll do a podcast in the morning, but it won't have anything new. I might even do it in the form of an emergency podcast, even though it will actually be tomorrow. So thank you for listening. I'll shut up now, and I'll be back tomorrow with something, and then hopefully do some more writing on Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.